Hi, this video is part of .NET interview series. One of the most frequently asked topic in .NET interviews is related to obsolete attribute. So what is an obsolete attribute? Obsolete is an alias for obsolete attribute. Obsolete attribute is found in the system's namespace, is a single-use attribute, and can be applied to any entity that allows attributes. Obsolete attribute is used to mark a class or function that is no longer recommended for use. When you mark a class or function with obsolete attribute, it will be deprecated. Why do you deprecate a class or function? In order to understand this, let us take a scenario. We would be working on production environments where multiple developers are working on the same project. Developer 1 has written a class or function A. Developer 2 and Developer 3 has written their own classes or functions B and C respectively. The classes or functions B and C are consuming the class or function A. After a certain period of time, the class or function A is outdated or no longer recommended for use. A new class or function, new A, will be written by Developer 1. Now, Developer 1 should make sure that Developer 2 and Developer 3 should make use of the newly created class or function. The usual way would be Developer 1 would have a meeting with other developers and let them know about the changes. But it would be much more easy and safe if Developer 1 could notify the changes programmatically. Developers can achieve this functionality by using the obsolete attribute. So how can we achieve this functionality? Specify the obsolete attribute on top of the class or function which has to be deprecated. Obsolete attribute has 3 overloaded constructors. Each constructor has its own arguments, and depending upon the constructor that you are calling, the way you are deprecating a class or function would vary. The first way is to simply specify the obsolete keyword, which would simply make the class or function deprecated. In this way, developers would not see any warning or error message. The second way is to specify the obsolete keyword along with an explicit warning message. This would make the class or function deprecated and also shows the developers the warning message that has been explicitly specified. The third way is to specify the obsolete keyword along with an explicit warning message and a true or false boolean value. If the boolean value is set to false, developers would see the explicit message as a warning. If the boolean value is set to true, the explicit message would not be a mere warning anymore, but would be shown as an error message during compilation. If a program uses a type or member that is decorated with obsolete attribute, the compiler issues a warning or an error depending upon how the attribute is configured. Let us see a practical demo to understand the topic more in detail. For the demonstration purpose, we have created a Windows console application project. In this console application, we have created 2 classes, class A and class B. Class A has 2 functions, the default main method and the user-defined function A. Class B has 1 function, function B. Now, let's try to instantiate an object for class A inside function B and call the function A. For instantiating the object inside function B, let's write A obj equal to new A. Let's call the function A present in class A. For this, let's write obj.function A. Now let's build the project. We can see that the build is successful. This means we are successfully able to call the function A present in class A from function B present in the class B. Now, after some time, function A might become no longer valid, and you would like to inform the same to all methods that are calling function A. You can achieve this by using obsolete attribute. On top of the function A, write system.obsolete open bracket. You can notice that there are 3 overloaded constructors for this attribute. Let's call the first overloaded constructor, which does not accept any arguments. Immediately, you can see a green underline inside function B, which is calling function A. This is a warning showing that function A has been deprecated and now is obsolete. The next thing you would do is to write a new function which would be used instead of the existing function A. Let's name it as new function A. For this, let's write public void new function A. Now, let's notify the function B to make use of the new function A. We can achieve this by invoking the second constructor of the obsolete attribute. Go back to the top of the declaration of function A and try to edit the line. Call the second overloaded constructor which accepts 1 string argument. This string represents the explicit warning message that you want to display. In this case, let's display this function is no longer valid. Please use the new function A instead. Let's build the project once again. Now notice that you are able to see the explicit message as well. This would be very helpful to instruct the other developers about what has been changed and what should they do next. If you are calling the absolute attributes first and second constructors, the developer can still go ahead and build the project without actually following instructions specified because you are simply showing a warning message. Now there would be cases where using this outdated function should not be done at any cost. In these scenarios, you don't want to show a mere warning anymore, but you want to throw an error if the outdated function is used anywhere within the project. For this, you should use the obsolete attribute's third constructor, which would accept two arguments. The first being the explicit message you want to display, and the second being a boolean value which indicates whether it has to throw an error or a warning. If the boolean value is set to false, it would be same as calling the second constructor, as it would simply display a warning message. If the boolean value is set to true, instead of a mere warning, you would see an error. This would make sure that until all the references of the outdated function A are cleared, build would always fail. You are certainly able to force the change to be implemented. In the similar manner, you may apply the obsolete attribute on top of any class that you want to deprecate. This completes the understanding of obsolete attribute. If you find this video useful, please hit the like and share buttons. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out our website for more. Thank you.